Did you know that back in 2015, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 unanimously to legalize same-sex marriage? Did you know that the fight for equality for members in the LGBTQ plus community is not over? Right now, in 28 states, you can be fired for being gay, lesbian, bisexual. Well, you get the idea. In 30 states, you can be fired for being transgender. What does that tell us about our country and our past? Think about that for a second. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, it is sad to hear these statistics and that you can be discriminated against and lose employment or even chances of getting a job from the basis of how you live your life. The LGBTQ plus community and its allies, those who support us, believe LGBTQ plus rights shouldn't be discriminated against for their gender and sexual orientation and their public-private lifestyles. They also believe that all couples, regardless of gender and sexual orientation, deserve equality and equity, recognition, legal rights, and tax benefits, or furthermore, being able to adopt as a gay couple. Those that oppose the rights of the LGBTQ plus community believe it to be a sin and is against religion, based on scripture, and that the government has a sense of duty to protect its citizens against these sinful acts. Equality shouldn't exclude a person, a group of like-minded people who only want to be loved and love others they want to love without continuous challenges of common civil liberty violations in pursuit of happiness is then forgotten. Many more challenges ahead because of the separation of the church and the state. The fight for equality for LGBTQ plus community started to get momentum in the Stonewall riots on June 28th, 1969. Right here. As described in History.com article, it all started when police raided a well-known Stonewall Inn hotel and a bar that convened LGBTQ plus community and its members and allies in New York City's Greenwich Valley. All 49 states, except for Illinois, during that time were allowed to discriminate against LGBTQ plus people for their lifestyle, choice of wearing, and more. They began to resist arrest. They became violent to show demonstrators that they were fed up and were done for being discriminated against, and were ready to fight back to show the world that LGBTQ plus people and its community faced violence, harassment, discrimination, which then led to heavy fines and imprisonment. This pivotal point marked a historic movement, and to this day, the Pride, which happens yearly in most cities and towns, gather together and remember and celebrate the Stonewall fight for LGBTQ plus liberation. In the latest Supreme Court ruling, back in June 26, 2015, same-sex marriages became officially legal, and many were proud for it. Our former U.S. President Obama, on the same day of the ruling, had ordered to project rainbow colors on the White House to commemorate the big victory and support the LGBTQ plus community, and is now found on the White House archives. But the fight is not over. And yet this achievement is huge. People today face even more LGBTQ plus discrimination, harassment, and even violence in the workforce, in healthcare, and other parts of this important issue. There were local non-discrimination laws towards protections for LGBTQ plus workers. However, nothing on the federal level to ensure widespread protections for being fired on the basis of their gender or sexual orientation in the place. Within this year, the Supreme Court ruled another historic ruling that workers can't be fired for being gay or transgender. This is yet another victory, because before this ruling occurred, many LGBTQ plus people were concerned for their jobs or even applying for a job. With the past Supreme Court rulings and the creation of the LGBTQ plus rights that were thought to be existed and still exist, and many other discriminatory acts towards LGBTQ plus people were challenged, until equality for all included LGBTQ plus people. These laws were created. However, they cannot enforce itself or oversee it, because that is the job of our law enforcement, to execute the law by upholding it. This means that the law enforcement field and officers should protect its citizens, even those who identify as LGBTQ+. Equality has been fought for different occasions, times, issues, and different groups of people, but one thing won't stand in the way, and that is the power of the people to stand together and fight for what's right. And again, equality should not exclude a person, a group of like-minded people who only want to be loved and love others who they want to love, without continuous challenges of common civil liberty violations, and just the overall pursuit of happiness is then forgotten. We must ensure that this is just not a dream for one, for a few, however, for all of us. So let me ask you, do you believe that people who identify as LGBTQ plus people, like myself, deserve equality in many forms?